So this is our monthly webinar series. We are going over NetDocs data loss prevention, or DLP training. Now, I've written the manual, and now we're creating the video that is going to go along with that manual on how to set up DLP, or data loss prevention. This is an add-on, although with NetDoc's new packages, I think it's just going to be included. So the analogy I can give is ND Mail, which I'm sure all of you have. ND Mail used to be an add-on product, and then NetDocs just started lumping it in there. Okay, I think that's the same thing that's kind of happening with DLP. Some firms have gotten it. As you renew your contracts, it might just be added into your package for you. We'll go over checking to see if you actually have DLP. All right. So before we start the training, there's a couple of things I like to do, trying to get back on the regular cadence. Updates with the NetDocs, and then Optiable updates as well. We'll go over some of our NetDocs tips, and then we'll just jump into the webinar. So let's get out of the PowerPoint and let's come over to NetDocs updates. So the big one, and this is going to be, it's good and bad, is the 50 gigabyte limit that has basically been released with NetDocs. So prior to, let's say, March, largest file size was 2 gigabytes in NetDocs. Now it is 50 gigabytes. There is a setting in your repository admin to allow that. And then what NetDocs has to do is go through and allow that to work in ND Office, upload sorts of stuff like that. So that's what a lot of the date uploads are coming, all the updates. This is going to be May 22nd, more back-end updates to support the 50 gig limit and to support faster file uploads. Let's see here if there's been anything else. Now that's really the big issue, and that is kind of a big one out there. Coming over to our webinar schedule. So we are doing NetDocs data loss prevention, best for NetDocs firms that have purchased DLP. So I put that in there just because, again, some of you might not have this, but maybe it's good that you know what DLP does. All right, 28th. So next Wednesday, we've got in office hours. You got new users. You just want to ask me questions. You want to try to stump me, jump on that. We have a Mac training June 4th on how to use NetDocs on a Mac. That's the big 2 hour. I go over everything. And because we screwed up the Windows training, some of you saw only half of that. I said I'd do another Windows training again. So that's June 11th, NetDocs Windows training, full training there. We got an office hours in June. This one, mastering versions in NetDocs. One of my clients was like, hey, can you do a training on versions for our firm? And I'm like, well, what would we actually do? And we just sat there and talked, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like a 1 hour training at least on everything you can do on versions, how they work with ND Sync, what are our official versions, what are unofficial versions. So this is a direct, basic question from a client, and we turn this into a webinar. Now I'm doing it for the firm, so this will be the second time of me doing it. I think this is going to be really good. Auto version, how to create new versions, some settings in NetDocs that control versioning. It's going to be really, really good. Again, I love when y'all ask me questions like this because I don't know what your frustrations or issues with NetDocs unless you let me know. AI Assistant July 9th, another office hours, collab space. Again, this comes from a client. September 10th, home pages. You all have home pages. There are also cabinet home pages, which not everyone knows about. So we're going to go over all the home pages. And then we're going to go over another September 17th, NetDocs workspaces. So everything is here in the events page, but we have added a whole bunch of new trainings based off feedback. So if you're sitting there and you're like, gosh, I wish Craig did a webinar on this, email, chat, Q&A, and we'll get that geared up for everyone. And then let me come over to NetDocs tips. These are our blog that explains how to do stuff in NetDocs. I wrote this today, at the last minute to go over how to use DLP, which is what we're going over today in the training. So I actually walk you through the whole thing of setting up a policy here. And there is a video of me doing this. Other just blog posts, man, we're trying to get a couple of these out a week. How to change a client or matter description in NetDocs. How to open and view the NetDocs activity logs in Excel. This was from a client who was like, hey, I always have to call you and ask you about what people have done. Can you just kind of show me how to get the activity log? So I go over how to download, and then I actually link to one of our tools that we use as well, but this goes over how to pull the activity logs out and actually use them. Only a NetDocs admin can do it. Activity logs, it's giving you IP addresses, it's telling you what users have done. So that's a good one right there, especially if you're administrating NetDocs. How to save an email to NetDocs from Outlook on a map, how to map folders. So we got some Mac stuff there, and then NetDocs search results, things like that I've learned. So a lot of good tips there. All right, let's get into our DLP. So I have created this manual, totally finished it up today. Going over DLP. Now, what I'm going to do is pop this link into the chat right now. So this is a secured link, so you can download this, okay? And again, I'm kind of newish to setting this up, so once I get a couple, we'll do one of these webinars at least a year, and I'm sure the next one the manual will be updated and we'll go over more and more stuff here. So the DLP manual is this one right here. It is 13 pages. It is going over, and let me just come in here. The video that we're recording today will be pushed in here. Go over, do you have DLP? What does it actually do? I'm going to talk about all this, so I just want to go over there. And then I go over and define what are the classifiers. We're going to explain all this today. What are the policies and what can we actually block? I want to leave it on this page because this is the cool part of how we set this up here. So in NetDocs, how do I know if my firm actually has purchased DLP? You have to be a NetDocs administrator to do this, a repository administrator, not a cabinet. So I'm going to come over to admin. There's two ways of seeing this. If we come over to information and settings, and then we come over to information, under protect, I have a checkbox that is green next to data loss prevention. Okay, so that is how I know that I have DLP or data loss prevention. The other way, and this is actually how you get to it, is if we come over to these three lines over here, we're going to come over to the security center. And we are going to open up, and see, it doesn't say upgrade like it says here, upgrade to use this feature. We don't see that there. Also meaning I have DLP and I can click on it to open up. When you get data loss prevention or DLP, you get these three classifiers that are set up. You also get these three policies that are automatically set up for you. And MPIP policy mapping is not set up. This is Microsoft Purview, a link between NetDocs and DLP. Honestly, not really sure how to really use this yet. So maybe we'll go over this in the next time we do training. I'm going to show you how to set up DLP that works really well for us. To be clear, my sweet spot in the NetDocs world is between 5 and 150 user law firms. I feel like some of this in data loss prevention goes into much larger organizations. So we are really going to spend time in the policies today and not really the classifiers. And I'm going to actually show you how I would create a policy. Let's come over and let's just start looking at some of these policies so we can kind of see. So no additional access. This is basically prohibiting anyone from modifying the access of a document. All right. So you're saying, hey, once someone makes this document, even like a cabinet administrator or someone has, once the document security is set, we're going to turn this on and it's going to prevent anyone else from changing the security. No other locations. So we are basically saying for this document, do not allow anyone to take this document and put it anywhere else. They can't copy it. They can't move it. They can't put it into a collab space. They cannot use deliver a secured link. All right. And then no system downloads. Basically, what you're saying is do not let this leave NetDocs. Okay. So you cannot attach it to an email. You can't add it to a collab space. You can't copy it because if you could copy it, then you could download it. So we don't want someone to be able to copy it. You can't use deliver a secured link. You can't use the download function. It's not going to stay in your Echo folder. Okay. You can't move the document. If you have ND sync, you can't use that. You can't open it online. You can't print the document either from the NetDocs print feature or from, say, the Word print feature. That won't work. Can't send it to DocuSign. Can't add it to Set Builder. Okay. Now, I came in here and I will tell you that I added some of these features on here because it does allow you to select different things here. So I came in and added the set builder and DocuSign because I felt that that was like a flaw. But these are the 3 policies that you get when you have DLP. Now, in the manual, I went through, oops, I didn't want to open up Word right now. And I try to list all these, like what can you prevent people from doing? And I listed all of the options that we have so far. I feel like as long as NetDocs adds, new products and stuff like that, I'm sure they'll come in here and add it to DLP. So this is what I want to do is I want to set up this policy, no system downloads for confidential documents. I'm going to walk you through the entire process on how I would do this. So the first thing I'm going to do, and this is a simple way of doing it. This is how I've rolled it out in law firms. And we'll talk about some other ways, but this is the simple way, is I am going to come over to profile attributes. We are now going to create a new profile attribute. So I'm going to hit the word create. Why don't we call this private or confidential or whatever you would want to call it? We are going to check the box saying use lookup table. And then I'm going to hit save. Now I'm going to come down to the last attribute here. There's private, and I'm going to open it up. I'm going to click on add private, and we're going to give this the key of yes. All right. The next thing we are going to do is we are going to come over to the cabinet, and this will be our client demo cabinet. And I'm going to open this up. And I'm going to come over to the profile attributes, and I'm going to check the box next to private, allowing this function to be here. And then we'll come down to the very bottom, and I'm going to hit submit. So we've created a new profile attribute. And then let's just see if we can see it. I think we probably have to log out here, but we'll come over to add, upload. And then we're going to do the edit profile tags. Is it here? Or did I waste? Oh, I did not waste all your time. So there's private. And now when I hit yes, I could mark a document private. Or, so we'll come over to documents recent. So you could do this at saving, or if we came over here to letter to Craig Bayer, more, edit profile. Great, of course. Just realized, all right, we'll come over here, edit profile. This will be the document we use. Okay, and then I've got, this is where I would have to log out to see that private. So this is, I can see it in the add upload. I don't see it in the edit profile. Okay, so log out. Let's go back to log in. And you might be like, how did you secure anything? We haven't secured anything yet. We've gotten close. So let's come over to more, edit profile now. All right, there's private. All right, so I could say yes here. And that's supposed to secure the document. But how do we actually do that? So let's come back to admin. Let's reopen up our client admin, or client demo cabinet, and in the admin console. So all we did is we checked the box here, allowing private to be used. Now we're going to come over to, oops, went past this, to this area right here. Okay. Now we are going to ignore these two right here. All right. If we chose, and by the way, don't think I didn't mess this up here, but if I came over here and, came over and chose this policy, no system downloads, I'm doing it for the entire cabinet, every single document. Okay. So then this would be a disaster because someone's trying to email a document they no longer can. Okay. So, but NetDocs does have this ability. You might have a super confidential document where cabinet in NetDocs where you do not want anything to ever leave there. Okay. That's where you would come over and set the policy for the entire cabinet. We're not doing that. We only want to set the policy for documents that we mark private as yes. That's it. So we're going to come over to data protection attribute, and we are going to choose private. And then we're going to come over to go to lookup table. You have to open up the lookup table from the cabinet. If you go to profile attributes and open up private, you're not going to see what we're about to see here. Okay, so yes, save the changes. And then we're going to come over and it's going to open up the lookup table. We will just double click on yes. And under policy, we're going to choose no system downloads. This is applying it. So when the attribute is yes, apply this policy. And this is what I've done, and this is what I've rolled out for clients of ours because they're like, hey, we only have certain documents can never leave the system, so I'll set up a profile attribute when they mark it, if they're then protected. All right, so that is going, we've set the whole thing up now. Okay. And so if we come back to documents recent, let's just say this document right here are 2014 January wine flights of fancy, more. We're going to come over to edit profile. And again, we're going to come over here and we're going to say yes. And then update. Okay. We have now put that privacy policy on there. So how do we know it works? Let's click on email copy. Your organization prohibits this action on the selected documents. We can't get it out that way. Okay. More, and I'm going to come over to download. Your organization prohibits this. Okay. Now, opening it up, if we click on this Excel file, we're going to open it up. Okay. And the way that this works is there is a feature in NetDocs that you might be aware of called echoing. If I set up your NetDocs, standard is 2 weeks, okay? So we keep stuff for 2 weeks and then it goes away. Here is, just come over here, and this is 4799. All right. So this is the Excel file that we have opened right here. It went into the Echo folder. It has to go in there. Look what happens when I close this document. Okay, and I don't save changes. Okay, it went away. I don't know if you saw that. I mean, there's multiple ones of here in here, but it went away. So it will show up in the Echo folder when the file is opened, but once you close it, it leaves the Echo folder and is no longer there. Let's open it up again. And let's try to cheat the system here because we're saying we don't want this to really leave our system. People can work on this document. They can make changes to it, but then it goes directly back into NetDocs. I'm going to do a save as, and I'm going to try to save this to my computer locally. See, they even built it into here. So when you do the save as, you cannot get it out. Now let's see here, cancel, file, print. Okay, so the print there works. Okay, which I didn't think it would, honestly. But if we more, oh, actually, I don't know if I've wait, I don't know if I've blocked print here. Have I? Okay, no, it doesn't work there, but it did seem to print here. Okay, and I think this is, we do the save as here. Okay, good. So NetDocs has blocked this from, there's no way I can get this document out. Okay, because even if I try to save and come over here, it's taking it over. The one thing is the print, and the print does still seem to work here. So file, print, and let me just see if I mean, the print to PDF is an issue. Okay, that printer is not even here. What about export? Well, I've just killed Excel. Great. It's still looking for this printer. All right, what about export? Export, create PDF here. Yeah, so this would work here. That's how they could get it out. Or maybe not. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't want it in there. So the print might be the only weakness now. Um, oh, so maybe it won't work. So I'll play around with the print. I mean, everything else, it kind of worked flawlessly. Now, the one thing I would say is this is where I think we come back into admin, and we're going to come over here to Security Center. We're going to open up data loss prevention, and this is the basically the integration with Microsoft. This is where I think the policies are, where we can create a policy and then have it flow into Office 365. Okay, so this is where we actually would set up our NetDocs information here. This is the part that I don't know about and I haven't set up yet, and I'll spend some time. Maybe this will be a blog post that we come out in the future, but actually pushing this into the Microsoft 365 as well, so to prevent it from like maybe that print working, which did seem to work there. Um, but that is an overview of how I set up DLP to basically classify a specific type of document there. And I mean, if you think about it, maybe we have a profile attribute like doc type, okay? And then one of the documents is medical records, okay? If selected medical records, we could link a policy to that doc type medical records. So none of the medical records can ever leave the system. That's a good use case too, besides setting it up for confidential information. So maybe you have a doc type called HIPAA or something like that. You don't want anything in there. Maybe it's called bank accounts, bank statements. You don't want those to flow out of the system. You can set that up for it to work. Any questions about DLP or data loss prevention? And then, okay, document profile defaults. It's a good one. We'll pull there. When you log in, why don't you use Need Organizations login to log in here? I definitely 100% do, as Craig Bayer is logging in. Wayne Jarvis, if you've ever been to any of my trainings, I'm always logging in as Wayne Jarvis. Okay. This is my training computer. The reason, if you want to get super technical, why I'm not using single sign on this login is because I'm logging into all of your accounts to do training for you. And the minute you start using single sign on, it hijacks every NetDocs login. So that's why I am not logging in to this one training account there. It's a good observation. Cost on DLP. Um, hold on for 1 second. Let me look at something here. I don't think you might have been able to buy data loss prevention as a separate add-on. I mean, I think they probably will sell it to you, but what's happening now, and let me open this up into there's these new NetDocs packages that you have the option of going to if you're renewing ND100 and ND200. Okay. ND200 has the data loss prevention. Okay. So ND200 is giving you document management, email, OCR, collab spaces, ND Sync, workspace security manager, DLP, analytics, eSign, chat link, and set builder. Okay, it's giving you all that stuff. So that's the ND200 package that you'll probably talk to someone about. No, I just threw out a whole bunch of stuff there, chat link, W analytics, eSign. We've got webinars that we constantly do that go over that stuff. like I'm doing a webinar, and let me reshare my screen now because I know I was just reading that out, but that was somewhat confidential. So let me hit share here. We do have some webinars scheduled to keep going over all these additional products that NetDocs is doing, because you might have been like, what is that? So data loss prevention, we're going over today. Plan training. So this is going to go over, this is in June. We're going to go over tasks, margin notes, chat link, and I think one other option there. And then we've got well, the AI, if you have the NetDocs AI Assist, that's an additional thing. Collab spaces, let's come over here. And then WSM October. I've already done a WSM, so there should be a video on that one. Those packages, I mean, I'm being honest, don't work for NetDocs. Don't know how much that costs. If you're interested, I can get with the sales rep and find out for you. But I think most people either have already purchased DLP. You could probably get it a la carte, which would be a certain dollar amount a user a month, or if you get ND200, you will be getting data loss prevention included with it. How much space does it give you? ND200. Okay, so the space is not, it's a great question here. And again, don't quote me on this. I don't even think this is actually accurate anymore. So I think when you look at these new packages, so I should put that back because I don't think it's accurate. I think ND200 is 100 gigabytes a user. Okay. ND100 maybe is 50 or 75 gigabytes a user. So when we first started, it was 20 gigabytes, then 30. And now when you go to these packages, you're getting much more storage. That's kind of NetDoc's idea, is to start giving people way more storage. We're using May storage, so we don't have to have those uncomfortable storage conversations that no one wants to have. Any other questions? Let's come over here. And I'm going to take this for advice, either a blog post about document profile defaults, because we're really not, haven't really gone over that. It's a great idea for a blog post or webinar. Any other questions about using data loss prevention? All right, just real quick, then let's just cover this part and then I'll let you all go. But let's just go over, you saw me set up data loss prevention to basically stop anything from happening. You could set up your own policy, and we'll just go over that real quick. But what can we do? Attach document. So basically, you're preventing email copy. You're preventing anything from being added to a collab space, copy, the ability to use deliver a secured link, download the document, echo the document, make changes to the document, move the doc. I'm sure that move document from container, just move the document. Like use more move, can't do that. ND sync. So that's a product here that allows you to synchronize an area of NetDocs with your local computer. If I have that blocked, it won't sync. Open up Office Online, print. Okay, so print, I think, is only the print from the NetDocs platform. I was wrong about that. Send a DocuSign and basically set builder. So let's just jump back here now. I'm going to come over to admin. I'm going to come over to security center. I'm going to come over to data loss prevention, and under policies, I'm going to hit create policy. We'll just call this optimals firm policy. And then under the roles, we hit select. This is everything that we just went over. So, I mean, you could check them all off. This is the most secure you can get because you're basically anything. But realistically, I'm going to do, we can't attach documents. So here's one that you could think about. I don't want anyone here. This is a new one. Okay, so this is a good policy here. Create policy. I'm going to call this prevent copy of documents and emails. You only want people to use deliver a secured link. You want to stop everyone from using email copy. All right. Now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to check attach document. So we're preventing anyone from using attached document. They can use email link and they could use deliver a secured link. We've created a new policy here. Okay. And then there was a place for a description that I could come in here. It's like force everyone to use email link or deliver a secured link. All right. And we're preventing attached document. Now, what I can do, and in this case, this is how I think this would actually work, is we come over to the cabinet. And this is where, because I want to force this on the entire cabinet here, we're going to come over, prevent copy of documents and emails. So I've stopped everyone from using email copy and forced them to use email link or deliver a secured link. That is an example of a policy that I would just force on the entire cabinet. So you can set policies for the entire cabinet. Again, maybe you have a partner cabinet that you don't want anything to leave that cabinet. This is where you could set up that restricted policy. All right. I appreciate everyone's time today. If you want to get DLP, let me know. At least you know that it exists. I don't really like to be super salesy in these things, but I do have to go over because all these people are getting them. But don't worry, office hours applies to everyone. Mac training does not. So if you don't have a Mac, Windows training applies to everyone. And then, you're seeing there's a lot of stuff here, mastering versions. Hopefully everyone can get some use out of that. And if you're more interested in adding DLP, let me know. All right. I hope everyone has a great Memorial Day. I will be with a group of attorneys at the Indy 500, so I never leave work, even when I'm having fun. So I hope everyone has a good holiday, and I will talk to you all soon. And for our Canadian uh, clients on here, happy, to you too. All right, let's see here. All right, yeah, that's all the questions. All right, thank you.